Hey everyone, welcome to Movies Explained. Tales of horror have been told for ages. In ancient times, stories full of terror were shared around the flickering light of a fire, and in today's day and age, they are still being shared in the form of film. While there are many different approaches to this genre, there are those that seem so personal that it would be a terrible idea to try to watch them by yourself. And that brings us to today's list, which is 10 movies that you should never, ever watch alone. Or if you're like me, just never watch in general. Number 10 on our list is Paranormal Activity. Soon after moving into a suburban tract home, Katie and Micah become increasingly disturbed by what appears to be a supernatural presence. Hoping to capture some of the evidence on film, they set up video cameras in the house but are not prepared for the terrifying events that follow. While this is not the first movie to utilize the homemade horror aesthetic, it is one of the most well-known. Be prepared to move to the edge of your seat as the unsettling supernatural events begin to take place. Number 9. The Conjuring. In 1970, paranormal investigators and demonologists Lorraine and Ed Warren are summoned to the home of Carolyn and Roger Perrin. The Perrins and their 5 daughters have recently moved into a secluded farmhouse where a supernatural presence has made itself known. Though the manifestations are relatively benign at first, events soon escalate in a horrifying fashion, especially after the Warrens discover the house's gruesome history. This isn't the only movie on the list that employs the supernatural, and if demons aren't your thing, I don't really suggest you watch this movie, let alone by yourself. Number 8 on the list is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This list would not be complete without this entry. Even back when special effects were harder to produce, the movie brilliantly sucks you in with an unnerving story. When Sally hears that her grandfather's grave may have been vandalized, she and her paraplegic brother Franklin set out with their friends to investigate. After a detour to their family's old farmhouse, they discover a group of crazed, murderous outcasts living next door. As the group is attacked one by one by the chainsaw-wielding Leatherface who wears a mask of human skin, the survivors must do everything they can to escape. Next on the list at number 7 is the Babadook. Single mother Amelia, plagued by the violent death of her husband, battles with her son's fear of a monster lurking in the house, but soon discovers a sinister presence all around her. This film plays with the idea of horror not coming into effect until you are aware of its existence. If you are alone watching this, try not to pay attention to any of the noises that you hear around you in your house. Just don't notice them. And good luck. Number 6. The Strangers. This film was inspired by true events. Talk about a really pleasant way to start out. This movie finds Kristen and James as they are expecting a relaxing weekend at a family vacation home, but their stay turns out to be anything but peaceful. First, a mysterious and dangerous woman arrives at the door while James is out on an errand. When he returns, shit hits the fan. Real danger shows up in the form of 3 masked torturers, leaving Kristen and James struggling for survival. Due to the realism of this story, it makes the film much more unsettling. If you were looking for something that you could watch in peace because it would never happen to you, don't start here. Number 5. The Grudge. Matthew Williams, his wife Jennifer, and mother Emma are an American family making a new life in Tokyo. Together, they move into a house that has been the site of supernatural occurrences in the past, and it isn't long before their new home begins to terrorize them as well. The house, as it turns out, is the site of an ancient curse that lingers in a specific place and claims the lives of anyone that comes near. It's not often that an American remake does well, but this one does. If you would like to be terrified for a night, we have just the movie for you. Number 4. The Blair Witch Project. This film did something that hadn't really been seen before. It used intentionally rough footage to provide a very homemade feel. The film budget was only $30,000, but it was met with outstanding success. This found video footage tells the tale of 3 film students who've traveled into a small town to collect documentary footage about the Blair Witch, a legendary local murderer. Over the course of several days, the students interview townspeople and gather clues to support the tale's authenticity. But the project takes a frightening turn when the students lose their way in the woods and begin hearing horrific noises. Next on our list at number 3 is A Nightmare on Elm Street. In this classic horror film, we find ourselves able to relate to the core devices of its horror, sleep, and nightmares. In the movie, we find several Midwestern teenagers who fall prey to Freddy Krueger, a disfigured midnight mangler who preys on the teenagers in their dreams. But this is where the twist comes in. If he kills them in the dream, they also die in reality. After investigating the phenomenon, Nancy begins to suspect that a dark secret kept by her and her friends' parents may be the key to unraveling the mystery. But the question is if Nancy and her boyfriend Glenn can solve the puzzle before it's too late. On to number 2, The Ring. This film takes the theme of horror and applies it to something that most everyone at the time had experienced at some point: TV static. The film sounds like just another urban legend. A videotape filled with nightmarish images leads to a phone call foretelling the viewer's death in exactly 7 days. Newspaper reporter Rachel Keller is skeptical of the story until 4 teenagers all die mysteriously exactly 1 week after watching just such a tape. Allowing her investigative curiosity to get the better of her, Rachel tracks down the video and watches it. Now, she has just 7 days to unravel the mystery. Topping the list at number 1 is The Exorcist. This film is a legend in the horror film industry and is one of the most profitable horror movies ever made. The tale of an exorcism is based loosely on actual events. When young Reagan starts acting odd, like levitating, speaking in tongues, things like that, her mother becomes a little concerned and seeks medical help only to hit a dead end. A local priest, however, thinks the girl may be seized by the devil. The priest makes a request to perform an exorcism, and the church sends in an expert to help with the difficult job, and the terrifying events unfold from there. So, what did you think of our list? Are there any that we missed? Let us know in the comments below. Also, if you enjoyed the video, consider subscribing to the channel and turning on the notification bell so you don't miss any cinema-related content. If you know someone who enjoys horror movies, try sharing this video with them and get their opinion on the list. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next video.